What's up, y'all? You know what it is? We got that split screen, and this time I got a pro hooper in the building, so I had to rep Philly. Got my AI throwback jersey. Welcome to the family, Kristen.
Appreciate it, Hoodie. Thanks for having me.
Now, I appreciate you pulling up on us. I know you played Temple 4 years, and then you went overseas a little bit before you transitioned into what you're doing now, kind of player and basketball development. So, kind of talk to us about your college career a little bit, then your pro career, and then we can get into kind of the business side of things.
Yeah, for sure. So, of course, I earned a scholarship. Earned for those youth out there. It was not given to me. I worked really hard to be able to earn my scholarship. I was actually recruited by the great Don Staley, who is the head coach at South Carolina. But this was pre-transfer portal, so she left maybe about a month before it was time to go to school, and I was not able to go with her. I tried, appealed it. NCAA wouldn't let me. Um, the administration at Temple wouldn't sign the paperwork that I needed in order to be let go. So, um, yeah, so I ended up staying at Temple, which is fine. I worked hard and was able to accomplish some pretty good things, but I learned a lot too, right? Lots of uncomfortable situations, just being far away from home, and just experiencing so many new things, meshing with people from all different areas of the United States. Um, and just, it was fun though. I was really focused on basketball. I didn't live that average party life that most college students live. There's nothing wrong with it. If you do that, that's part of the experience for many. But I was just super focused on basketball. That was my love, and that's really what brought me joy. So, yeah. So came in just freshman year, wanted to make my mark and do the best that I could in those 4 years because I knew that I had a goal. So, um, met some really good people. Again, I stayed in the gym. Like, I don't think people understand when I say stayed in the gym. I had a practice after practice or practice before practice. It's just really what I loved and wanted to do, and yeah, that's what you're supposed to do to me. Put your all into your craft and see really what you can get out of it, and that's what I did. So
So she's being modest, y'all. Let me spit off some of the accolades. She's a second team A10 player 2 times. She is the fourth leading scorer in women's Temple basketball history. So when she says she put in the work, the results came from the hard work. So, we definitely got to applaud that because sometimes kids nowadays, they think it's going to be easy, or if they have some adversity, they jump right in that portal and try to find something sweeter. So the fact that a Cali girl coming to Philly, you know what I mean? That's culture shock coming from the left coast to the East Coast, you know what I mean? So all that played a factor, but made you stronger. Reason why you were able to build your accolades and then transition into your pro career, if you want to speak to some of that, kind of how you transition from college to pro.
yeah, for sure. So you work hard in college to be able to, if that's your goal, play professionally after college, and that's what I was blessed to do. You get an agent once you graduate. Or not necessarily graduate. Once your basketball season is over, you're able to acquire an agent. Mind you, I'm speaking from 2012 terms because I'm sure maybe now that's changed with NIL and everything when you're allowed to get an agent and everything, but I'm not, super up to the specifics on that. But you get an agent, your agent shops you around for different teams overseas, even WNBA. And yeah, so the first place that I played was actually Italy. I played there for half a season. And those who aren't really familiar with overseas, there's some good situations, there's some not so good situations. You know, sometimes you just don't know the specific team you're going to, or sometimes the team is late paying and you're like, well, where's my money? So I played in Italy in the team at the time. They're actually still around, but they did not have any more funds. So it was just a half a season that I spent there, and then I went on to play in France, which was a pretty cool experience. played with really a lot of talent, and just was able to still just travel the world. So I spent the second half of that first year overseas in France, and after that, I actually the I had like a gap of a year where I didn't play anywhere. So I was just home. I ended up coaching a little bit. Same thing, working with the youth. And then I went over to play in Iceland, which was amazing. We won the Icelandic championship. I got the MVP of the league. It was just like, it was just fun. It was so much fun just playing basketball, being in such a beautiful country, meeting beautiful people. Um, I just had a really good time that year, especially. So that kind of like jump started my overseas career a little bit more just with the success that I had. And I was able to take that and, tell teams like, hey, this is what I could do. So I went to, after Iceland, I went to, where did I go? Romania, which was not high on my list at all. Just was kind of a difficult country to play in the sense of because living there just wasn't the most fun. But my teammates made it really fun, especially the three American teammates that I had. They were awesome. Yeah, we bonded all of us together, and then we just had each other over there. So that was a lot of fun. Um, Same thing, unfortunately, kind of financial issues with the team. So I just played half a season there, and then the second half I went to Germany, which was really really nice. Beautiful country, by the way. It wasn't really a country that was on my list to like of really wanting to visit or anything, but I'm glad that I had the opportunity to play there. That was a really great situation. I had a really good coach. He taught me a lot, and he, he spoke English, really good English. That's something that we take for granted when you're going into another country. Like your coach might not speak English, or if he or she does, it's very broken. So you just do your best, and you still have to shine and do your job regardless. So that was kind of the case for me in Italy, where I didn't really have my coach did not speak English, so everything was translated to me. Or you're reading body language, or you're reading tone of voice and certain things like that. So, but yeah, so I was in Germany, and then to finish the second half of the season. And then that next season, I played in Germany again, but on a different team where I actually, it was, uh, it was near France actually called Freiburg. And I had a lot of fun there. Again, I had great teammates. Basketball situation was okay, not too bad, but the teammates really made it fun. Especially one of my teammates who we lived together. We were roommates. She was she's from Belgium, and she just it's just cool like being able to meet people from all over the world, having that opportunity. So now I have friends in different countries and who have grown up differently than me. Nothing wrong with that. It's actually a great thing. So you just get all this different perspective. It expands your mind, being able to see within what you're used to. And again, just meeting so many great people, learning the game of basketball from so many different teammates and who had different coaches from different points in their life, and being able to, take little bits and pieces of their knowledge and take it in for myself. So that was just a really great opportunity. And actually I learned a little bit of German there. We had German class, and my my German teacher, she was a really cool teacher. We maybe had it like once a week. Sometimes if the schedule got a little crazy, we would just kind of pick up like every the following week.
Hmm.
But actually, when I was in Germany, so kind of like how the foreign players of the NBA, in Europe they have like the pros, the youth basically play with the pros. So like Luka Doncic, at a young age, he was playing with, excuse me, he was playing with the pros.
Hmm.
his country. So I actually Satu Sabali, she plays on the Phoenix Mercury, excuse me. She was
Hmm.
on her entire career up until this season. So she was like 17, 18 at the time. So I played with her up until when I was there, and then she went on to play 4 years at Oregon. But so you get that. So you're playing with some youth that are talented, but it's just cool to see a different way again of, and I know later we're gonna speak about me teaching youth. So I feel like I've had all these different perspectives and you know, I played with players who were a little bit younger sometimes, not all the time, but I played with people from different walks of life. I played with, you know, many teammates who English wasn't their first language. I coached kids even in Iceland who they didn't really speak English, right? So there's all these different things. But let me jump back. So that was Germany. Finished that season there in Germany, and then I actually went back to Iceland for 2 more years. So Iceland's my favorite country. I absolutely love love Iceland. It's such a beautiful country. I always say like it's God's country. There's waterfalls, nature. It's just like peaceful and serene, and the people are really amazing. They really just have like hearts of gold. They're just really nice, giving people who just welcome you. I think that's the most important on no matter what level you're playing on, whether it's me going from California all the way to Philadelphia to play basketball or, going to any country, you want to feel welcome because for 8 months, 8, 9 months out the year, like that's your family. That's who you're going to spend the most time with. So I think that's actually, I feel like definitely probably one of the reasons why we were so successful. Um, as a team and me personally just being in Iceland, it's like, you're feeling like you're at home
Hmm.
in the sense when you're playing. So, it's not like a bad situation and then you have to go and perform. Like, yeah, you have to do that anyway, but it just helps when you have all these other great factors. No stress, no, you're just playing free. The coach is believing in you, or he's just relaxed and he knows how to um, just take the pressure off in the sense of, you just having fun at practice, having fun in the games. Like, yeah, we know what the goal is, but we're going to get it done. It doesn't need to be this high intense situation.
Hmm.
So, so that was created really, especially my first season there in Iceland. The coach did a really wonderful job of that. But yeah, so that was in total like 7 years, 6 or 7 years of professional basketball overseas. So, like I said, it's just what I take even now into everyday life, or just my perspective now on life, or just um, sometimes my thought process, or just who I am now because I was able to play overseas and experience so much. Like, it's just amazing. I mean, even my mom, right now, as we speak, she's going on a cruise with her friends, and the cruise ship leaves from Iceland, and I think it sails to like the Netherlands or something like that. But she's meeting up with my friends, you know, from Iceland who have come here to California, visited me, been able to stay with me and meet my family and those types of things. So it's just really cool to really be able to form those relationships and those, like lifelong friendships that, I mean, who would ever think like I would have friends from all these countries? It was just was something that never really crossed my mind. So it's just great for perspective. It's great for growth and like understanding and just being able to, yeah, just communicate and like just accept all people and just appreciate our differences. So I know this orange basketball has taken me so many places and continues to do so still. So I'm just super grateful for it. Granted, I know all the hard work that I put in for it, but it's been amazing for
No,
sure.
that's dope. Because I know when I played in college, two of my teammates they played overseas. One, we had a couple imports. One guy was from Montenegro. I think another guy was from Serbia. So one of them
Mhm.
went over to he went back home and just played in the Euro leagues for like I think 11, 12 years.
Hmm.
Every once in a while I'll hit him up. Like this is 15, 20 years ago. We'll still hit him up and we'll chit chat a little bit here and there. You just lifelong friends. You just got to bond with just because you're young. All you're doing is hooping and trying to pass and get good grades in school. Literally, that's what your time was for 3, 4 years. So I feel
Yeah.
you on that. Bonds will
Yeah.
never go away.
Yeah, for sure. So that's just so important. I feel like to know people beyond like your immediate surroundings, right? So, you know more than the people you just grew up with or something like that. Now, of course, everyone's not always afforded that opportunity as much to be able to do so. But I was put in situations where I could get to know people from other states, other countries. So I have friends all over, and I think that's a huge like something that I'm super grateful for.
Yeah, agreed. Perspective is, international perspective will put everything, you'll appreciate things a lot more because like, oh, I never knew that. And then it's like that's people's norms growing up. It's like, man, I appreciate what I did have growing up. But
Hmm.
with that said, when you said, the 7 years of overseas pro ball, so kind of what was that transition? You're like, okay, I can't do this forever. How am I going to pivot and kind of turn my basketball knowledge, my love for the game, love for kids, just love for the sport? How am I going to turn that into like a stream of income and kind of build out a brand and a business?
Right. So I had always, even before, like even while I was playing, and yeah, the whole time really, like from college, I remember the short stint that I would come home. I would like work basketball camps. Like I worked the UCLA basketball camps a lot, just different basketball camps with whoever was needed me at the time, and it was decent money and it was fun. So I would do that, and then even when I played in Iceland, I coached a couple teams. I coached, I think it was like first through fourth grade. So I was coaching the kids there. And then one season I coached like seventh and eighth grade girls. So I'm getting in the meantime, I'm getting all these experiences and perspectives on coaching youth of all ages. Again, in Iceland, like English wasn't their first language. So I'm learning how to be even a better communicator because I had to. So you're really just trying to make sure they understand the point, what the point is that you're making. And on the flip side, I was I had was and had experience having coaches who English wasn't their first language or who didn't really speak English at all. So I kind of understood, which I'm kind of just thinking about that as we're having this conversation, like, wow, okay. Because I like to think I'm a really good communicator, especially when it comes to like coaching and teaching the kids. So I think that has a lot to do with that. And so yeah, so I actually had like gotten injured when I was playing. So I just kind of started coaching, just teaching kids just on like a very, very part-time basis, just very minimally, and then kind of just built from there. And I know just like for me, again, basketball, even beyond the places it's taken me, it's what it's taught me in life, even like the mental toughness, um, just being able to get through harder things. I feel like that basketball has been that tool. So I love being able to teach, to pour that into what I'm teaching when I'm working with the youth. So that's like kind of what I focus on. Of course, we're working on skill work and everything, but it's like we're going to work hard. We're going to communicate. You're going to open your mouth. You're going to call for the ball. You know, you're going to say screen is coming, whatever it is. Okay. So even the discipline, it's like, okay, why do I have to keep repeating myself? Right? There's consequences to that. Like certain things that, in my opinion, a lot of youth are not exemplifying much anymore. So I think it's just super important. And again, I look back, like even on difficult situations that I come across, even now to this very day, right? That I'm applying what I learned growing up and even playing overseas and even going to college. You go far away from home, you gotta stand up for yourself, grow up, speak up, right? All of these things, communicate with the adults, everything that may be uncomfortable that just playing a sport has taught. It's like, okay, my mom or my parents aren't always gonna be there to just do it for me. So, like all these things that I'm very adamant about instilling in the kids that I teach. And yeah, I just think it's just so important. Even if your vehicle is not basketball, but a sport or something that requires discipline and requires certain tools like that are going to be important for life as well. So there's just even so many job opportunities and everything just because I'm an athlete that I'm afforded. Because the mostly the consensus and thought process is like, we hire athletes because this, we hire athletes because this is their mentality. We hire athletes because of this. Um, so again, that's of course like their skill work and IQ and understanding, but that's just I'm really big on that too when I'm teaching kids. And also something that I'm big on that I wasn't as big on as a player, not really realizing, is making sure you're more like well-rounded in the sense of what else do you like besides just hooping?
Mm.
Like, or let's as some of the kids that I teach, we've gone to like the basketball game before, basketball games, going to watch different levels of play, but just making sure too that I love the grind, trust me, but just having a little bit of time away from that because it teaches you too, like maybe there's other ways to have fun or to cope or what with whatever you're going through, right? Because what if there's those times where you can't get to the gym or when you do stop playing that, what are you supposed to do? What else do you enjoy? So those are I try to tie all that into when I'm teaching the youth, but mostly the most important things to get out of it, I feel like, are just what it teaches you for life and the habits and the successes that it could set you up for. Like the habits, basketball habits, but that could set you up for other habits, whether it be you're building your own business, or just a good job. Those habits that you formed as a player, you're carrying them over and just teaching that hard work. So
I love that, man. Just the useful skills you can learn as early as 5, 6 years old, just learning youth basketball. I mean, I wasn't blessed to play, I didn't start playing organized till I got into middle school and then on high school and college, but stuff you learn just you might not like him, but he's on your team. You got it, you repping colors now. It's you versus whoever else on that court. So you're gonna learn to like them or at least appreciate what they can bring to the game. So those life skills, they're so important when you're in the business world because we don't work for free. We're working to make money and build out a good team. So if they're trustworthy and they can help you build your brand, you got to figure out how to utilize people to help uplift each other and get to a common goal. And that's sports, man. That's really the core of sports.
exactly what it is. Having that level of professionalism, being able to go to work, like you said, even if you don't really like the person next to you isn't your favorite, but it's like, okay, we have one common goal of winning. So I got your back. You're my teammate. Maybe you're not my friend, but you're my teammate. So when we're on it's two different things, right? So
Facts.
when we on the court, you're my teammate. I got you. So it teaches you so many things because just little kids sometimes, right? This happens all the time. I'm like, okay, such and such, you're on this team, you're on that team. I'm on her team. Like, yes, you're gonna have to play with somebody who you don't like, right? And
Yeah.
it's okay you don't like them, but don't be rude, don't be disrespectful, and you're gonna play with them. Because what's the goal? To win the game. So do what you have to do, right? Even at a small scale. So it's funny, like everything shows up as a kid with basketball that's gonna show up in the real world. And that's one of the things that frustrates me so much when a lot of these parents are to me are so soft and so like lenient. And I'm like, that's just not reality.
Mhm.
So, a lot of kids are gonna have a tougher time.
Yeah, agreed. So I guess my one last question for you, B, because I want to keep you. I know you're a busy lady. What would
Mhm.
be one piece of advice you give to somebody that's kind of looking to build out their business or transition from one point of their life to another? Because you had to do that from college to now got to become a pro, and now you got to come back to the States and create a living, a source of income. Because, so what would be one piece of advice you give to our audience that's kind of, watching us?
Well, first I would say to see the other thing. What are the other things that you enjoy? And actually, I wish I did a better job of this when I was overseas. So, like, figure out, even if it's just your interest, and start tailoring that. So now social media is more popular than ever, and it wasn't as popular when I was playing. But start your little page for something you're interested in. So, like, when you're done, you have a little bit of footage, or you can look back, or other people could look back, and then that could also just keep your relationships going when, like, if you're overseas, your relationships that you have in the States, right? You still want to be able to just check in on those people, see how they're doing, so they're just not, forgotten. Or when you come back and you're like, hey, remember 10 years ago we talked? Like, it's like, hey, just keep it fresh relationship. Even with social media, again, comment on something, check in on them. Hey, just little things like that. So you're staying just connected to those people. And as far as just, like, again, businesses, if you want to work for somebody, if you want to work for yourself, keep your resume up to date. Like, I wish in the moment I even did a better job of just logging, because it was just more that I had to do and really think of when I had to go back. But just logging, okay, I coached this season, I coached these kids, like, just everything that I did. I
Mm.
wish I did a better job of logging that in the moment, because then it would all be laid out in front of me, instead of like really having to go back and really jog my memory. Because there were some really cool things that I was able to accomplish, and that I could add to my resume, or add to just like accolades, or just accomplishments, or just being involved, like volunteering, certain things, right? Even in a whole nother country. So I would say those things are important, really important as well.
Okay. All right. So before we close up here, let us know how we can reach you online for your
You
business.
you can reach me at, so Chris, my name is Kristen McCarthy. So Kristen McCarthy 5. So KRIS 10, and my last name is McCarthy. MCCARTHY, the number 5. That's my Instagram. And once you go there, even in my bio, it's like you can click on my business like page as well. So you can see both pages. So yeah, definitely reach out, even if you have a question, if you want to say hi. Um, I'll give you a shout back for sure.
There we have it. We got Kristen in the building, a true hooper, your favorite hooper's hooper. Appreciate your time, girl.
All right, thanks, Hoodie. Appreciate it.